All right, let's jump into another deep dive. Today we're looking at, well, this document that kind of feels like a puzzle box, you know?
Yeah.
It's all about this whole new eon idea.
Hmm.
But it gets really interesting when you realize this thing. It's called New Eon Test Questions.pdf. It's from June 17th, 1948.
Okay.
And it wasn't just some random philosophical thing out there.
Right.
It was sent directly to 3 specific people, York, Handel, and Kowal,
Wow.
by someone calling themselves, get this, Achad.
Ooh, that's mysterious.
Right, like almost a secret society vibe.
Yeah.
Makes you think, like, were these guys, getting some sneak peek at the future or something?
Exactly. It definitely sets the stage for something different.
For sure.
And that feeling, it just gets stronger when you actually get into the content itself.
Yeah.
The very first question, boom, hits you with a choice.
Oh.
Do you consider yourself to be living in the old or the new eon?
Simple question, but wow, so much packed into it.
Right.
It makes you stop and think. Are we actually on the edge of some massive shift in, well, everything?
Yeah, I think it really does point to that idea of these big turning points in history. Like when humans figured out agriculture or the printing press,
Or even the internet.
Yeah, exactly.
Huge leaps forward.
And those each kind of ushered in a new eon, right?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
a whole period of massive change culturally, spiritually.
Right.
And this document seems to be saying, hey, get ready because there's another one of those coming.
Okay, so say you're hooked.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, maybe I am ready for this new eon thing. Well, question 3, it throws down another challenge. It asks if in the former, so that's the old eon, do you wish to try to qualify for the latter, meaning the new eon?
Oh, interesting.
So it's not enough to just watch it happen. You got to actively choose to be a part of it.
Right, like it's a deliberate transition.
Totally. But the document, it doesn't give you a clear path or anything.
Oh, so how do you qualify then?
Well, it points to this quote from Liber Legis,
Okay.
which, for those who might not know, is a super important text in Thelema,
Right.
which is a spiritual philosophy that came about in the early 1900s.
So we're already seeing these like esoteric threads coming into play.
Exactly. And the quote itself, get ready, it's intense. Behold, there are 3 ordeals in one, and it may be given in 3 ways. The gross must pass through fire, let the fine be tried in intellect, and the lofty chosen ones in the highest.
Wow. Okay, so we've got 3 paths, each with its own unique challenge.
Right, it's like a cosmic choose-your-own-adventure.
I like that.
Would you brave the fire, test your intellect,
Oh.
or try for some kind of higher, spiritual transcendence?
And each path, it seems like it's got its own set of like implications.
Totally.
That fire path, for example, it brings up all this imagery of burning away the old, facing intense challenges, and coming out transformed.
It makes me think of Nelson Mandela and those 27 years he spent in prison.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Talk about a trial by fire.
Seriously.
Yeah.
But it totally forged him into an even stronger leader.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's what this path is getting at. True growth, it often comes through facing hardship and coming out the other side, change.
Changed for the better, hopefully.
Right.
Then you've got the path of intellect, tried by intellect, like the document says. This one seems to be all about using your mind, your critical thinking skills, to evolve right alongside the eon.
Yes. It seems to suggest that knowledge and understanding, they're key to navigating this whole shift, right? This path, it might resonate more with people like scientists, philosophers, anyone who's really trying to wrap their head around the changing world.
Makes sense. And then finally, we have the lofty chosen ones, those tested in the highest.
Ooh, this one feels almost mystical, doesn't it?
It really does.
Like reaching a whole other level of consciousness or awareness.
For sure.
And it's interesting, the document, it doesn't actually define what the highest is.
Oh, that's true.
It leaves it open to interpretation.
Which is kind of cool. Like it adds to the mystery, And it encourages you to do some personal reflection.
For sure.
So we've got these 3 paths laid out, but then the document really starts testing you.
Okay, how so?
Question 5, for example,
Yeah.
asks those on the fire path. What do you suppose is meant by the words, must pass through fire? Are you prepared to try to pass this ordeal?
Ooh, okay, so it's not just about understanding what fire symbolizes.
Right.
It's about your own willingness to go through it.
Right.
To embrace the potential pain, the upheaval that comes with big transformation.
Woo, it's making me sweat just thinking about it.
Right. It's not for the faint of heart.
No.
And then we get to question 6, which is, for those on the path of intellect, it says, the plenum is infinite. Its manifestation in time and space through change becomes almost infinite.
Okay.
And then it asks if you think this statement is philosophically, theologically, or mystically true.
Okay, confession time. This one totally threw me for a loop at first.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
The plenum, like what even is that?
Yep.
So think of the plenum as like the ultimate totality, the infinite source of everything, beyond time, beyond space.
Whoa.
But when it shows up in our reality through the process of change, it becomes almost infinite.
Ah, okay. I think I'm starting to get it. So it's like we're seeing glimpses of this vast, infinite reality, but we can never fully grasp it because we're stuck in time and space.
Precisely. And the question, it challenges you to make peace with these like contradictory ideas,
Right.
to really grapple with how huge existence is while also admitting our limited human perspective.
It's mind-bending, that's for sure.
Definitely. But just when you think it can't get any more intense, we hit question 7.
What's that one?
This one's for those lofty chosen ones, and it asks, how is it possible, other than mentally or spiritually, to feast in the presence of one's enemies, for example, while under guard in a concentration camp without any visible movement that could attract attention?
Whoa, okay, this one, I'll be honest, it kind of threw me off.
It's a very stark question.
It is.
And unsettling. But I think it speaks to this incredible inner strength, resilience in the face of, unimaginable adversity.
I'm not sure I'm comfortable with that word feasting in that kind of situation, though.
Yeah, I understand that.
It feels almost disrespectful.
You're right to question that. It is a very jarring image. Maybe it's not about literal feasting. Maybe it's about finding nourishment in unexpected places, even in the darkest times.
Okay.
Maybe it's about finding ways to nourish your spirit, your will to resist, even when everything else has been taken away.
That makes more sense, yeah.
So it's about holding on to your inner strength, your sense of self, even when surrounded by enemies.
Exactly. And then after all these challenging questions, the document ends on a seemingly simpler note. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law. Love under will. The law is for all.
Right. It's interesting how it goes from those heady questions about reality and transformation and all that
Yeah.
to these seemingly simple statements about love and will.
It's like it's bringing us back down to earth.
Yeah, totally.
Like, okay, you've wrestled with these huge ideas, but now how do you actually live them?
Right.
So it's not just about understanding this new eon. It's about embodying its principles, aligning your actions with a higher purpose, driven by love.
And what's amazing to me is that this was written, over 75 years ago?
Yeah.
And it still feels relevant.
Oh, absolutely.
This idea of an eon, a time of profound change and transformation, it really resonates with our times too,
Yeah.
With all the crazy technological advancements, social shifts, environmental stuff happening.
For sure. So after this deep dive into new Eon Test Questions.pdf from June 17, 1948, what are you left with? Do you see yourself walking one of these paths,
Yeah.
Fire, intellect, the highest? Which one resonates with you?
Think about how this idea of the 3 ordeals might apply to your own life. What challenges are you facing right now? What transformations are you going through? And how can you use your intellect, your spirit, and your will to navigate those and come out stronger on the other side?
Thanks for joining us on this journey into the mysteries of the new Eon. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and remember, the path unfolds one step at a time.